Have you ever found yourself a few minutes into an interview and then realizing that the person was not the right fit, and yet you stayed on to be polite for an extended period of time? Well, if you're like me, you've definitely done that, probably not 5 or 10 times, but hundreds of times or maybe even thousands. We're here to share with you today a way to revolutionize your interviews with AI, thanks to Multiply Interviews. Now, when we think about things like time wasted, it's a bit bigger than that. It's also about our speed to actually hire people. And too often we get stuck with this scheduling dance that goes on, and we miss out on top talent just because we cannot arrange an interview at a time that suits. Or we end up risking, with some bias and time constraints, to actually just hiring the person that's available versus getting to 2 or 3 more interviews and that magical candidate that you really deserve to have. Well, let's revolutionize these interviews with AI. And this has been brought to you by Multiply Interviews and multiplai.tech. And we're going to see some examples from Go Team today, who employ over 1,000 people and have more than 1,000 to 3,000 people apply every week to their jobs. And we see just why it's so important to be able to handle volume interviews. But also, if you're a small organization and you're just doing interviews from time to time and you realize that you're struggling with doing it effectively, then you're not alone, and this platform will also suit you as well. Now, for any of us, when we're hiring managers, there's a bit of bias that tends to kick in. And Gallup will tell us that the impact on this bias that occurs can have a 21% impact on profitability. So this leads us to the real recruiter's dilemma. You know, whether we're in HR, recruitment, or a hiring manager, the challenge is that actually we all need to hire quality, and we need to do it faster and a lower cost. This is a real pressure for all of us globally right now, and it increases a bias as a result. And think about the types of biases that occur in interviews. Confirmation bias, affinity bias, halo effect, when someone, it just looks good and feels good, or stereotyping or constraint effect, or really this similar to me type of bias. And when we're looking for a balanced team, we don't want everyone the same. We want the variety in order to get the balance that we need to be a highly effective and performing team. I got to say though, I think that time constraints are one of the biggest pressures that we all face in today's environment. And we tend to rely on our heuristics, so our previous examples, the way that we define the world or experiences in order to do the recruitment. Or there's also this, and that's because of the time pressure, but there's also the narrowed candidate pool that occurs where we just don't end up interviewing enough people and get the depth of the pool that we need. There's also the overall increased stress, especially if you're hiring for multiple positions. The more stress we have in our bodies, the less effective we become at making decisions. And then also limited time to deliberate on the detail from the interviews as well. Let's change all that. It's possible today. In the old world, it was not possible to have time, quality, and cost positively impacted. But today, it's like we are breaking the laws of physics with the use of AI and the Multiply Interviews platform. Let's check this out. A standard interview process today in many organizations can look like this. Applicants will apply. There'll be an initial screening of those applications. That, of course, has unconscious bias and time constraints. Then you need to coordinate the interview, and isn't that one difficult at times to do it during work hours especially. Then we'll go on to the initial interview, whether it's done by HR, recruitment, recruiters, or a hiring manager. That initial interview, we then get hit with this unconscious bias, the time constraints, and the limited time for sourcing additional applicants that could be the right ones that you need for the role. After that, you'll go on to, in many cases, technical assessments, and then eventually the final interview with a hiring manager. What if we could break this process and look at it through a completely new paradigm and utilize AI interviews to process? Let's have a look at this new way. Applicant applies, and you go immediately to interview. No waiting, no time constraints, full reduction usually of a week in time or more. We reduce the cost of the labor in the actual interviews, the initial interviews, and we get a quality increase because of the reduction of bias and the expansion of the available pool of applicants. When the AI actually completes the initial interview, it does the pre-screening and even recommends the next steps. This means unlimited interviews per day, reinvestment of that time into sourcing more applicants for the role. And it allows you to elevate the applicant experience because it removes all the bias. Then you can move on to your technical assessments because what's even better, you've got more applicants to choose from, and then go on to that final interview and reduce the time that's actually spent on final interviews, because you know that the candidates that are coming through have gone to a level of pre-screening. It's going to keep those hiring managers really happy. Now, I got to say, there will always be a war for top talent, and therefore it really is on us to write compelling job ads, get speed to interview, and filter, compare, and select in a way that is like the world's best recruiters. Now, the great news is that all of this can be done with the power of AI. Let's have a look at this. In fact, the AI can help you write compelling job descriptions. And I'm not saying you need to go off to ChatGPT. You're going to see all this done in front of your eyes in just one moment. Also, the speed to interview. Never miss a top talent interview again, right? You can actually go from apply to interview in just seconds with no waiting, no scheduling dance, and you can even embed the interview into LinkedIn's apply buttons. I'll show you that as well. We also get to filter, compare, and select like the world's best recruiters and really supercharge your confidence when it comes to making those hiring decisions, knowing that you've got the back of AI to support you. I'm going to show you all the detail in just one moment. In fact, let's go check it out right now. Now, the first thing we need to do is create a job post. And with this, we'll put in a position. I'm going to do executive assistant today. We'll put in a short description to help the AI get primed. As we create that job post and we land on the job post page, simply click on the paragraph here and let's use AI to help write this position description and job ad for us. Looking pretty good so far. Now, as it goes through, if you think about this, it's removing any writer's block that you may have. You can go and edit the details afterwards. Maybe you've even got an existing job ad that you use, you can put in. As we scroll down, we'll see it continuing to write the job ad, that position description. And I love it. It even finishes with a powerful quote to help inspire the individual. We can save those changes now. And I'm also going to add a pre-video in here so that when the job ad is posted, there's a video from me that talks to the applicant and even explains that they're about to go through an AI-powered interview. You get to customize that for your organization, so it's always a personalized approach. And you get to customize it also for every single position that you state. I think in today's environment, people like to consume video and it speaks to them and gets a bit of a feel for the culture in your organization as well. We'll save those changes. I can assign it to a particular recruiter if I like, but let's jump into the interview questions. Now, the AI is going to write 5 interview questions for us. You can add more interview questions. It will need to be a minimum of 5 questions to ensure that there's enough content there to establish a solid assessment of the individual. Now, each of those questions you can edit, and you'll see that the AI has even written answers for us around poor, good, and excellent answers. You can rewrite those with AI, you can edit them yourself to make sure that they suit your needs. Now, with that done, all we need to do is publish the ad itself. And once it's been published, we can actually copy that link and go and have a look at how it is placed on site. Here we'll see the video has been established, the full position description or job ad, and the applicant can apply using LinkedIn or registering individually. Now, speaking of LinkedIn, this is where we've seen a real game-changing results at GoTeam, who employ over 1,000 people and have over 1,000 applicants a week. What they're doing at GoTeam is actually putting the interview application link inside the apply button on LinkedIn. So what we do is click on the apply button and we see it redirected to the AI-powered interviews. And there it is. Now the applicant can now go and apply simply using LinkedIn. Now we're going to go and have a look at the one we created just a moment ago. And I'm going to use my LinkedIn account to apply. Now I logged in earlier, so it might go through fast. Now here we go. Now all it does is we authenticate with LinkedIn so that LinkedIn information can go through to the system as well. And once authenticated there, all I need to do is proceed to the interview. Now at this point in time, the applicant will check their devices and then click on next, talk about questions and answers, saving the video interview. And there's a pre-video as well, just as a reminder that this is an AI interview. Once that's done, all the applicant needs to do is click on, I'm ready to start.
Hello, I am the interviewer and you are interviewing for the position of executive assistant. First, I would like to greet you and thank you for your time. Let's get started. What steps do you take to ensure accuracy and attention to detail in your work?
And I think that gives us some insight now to how the AI is working. Let's go and have a look at a completed outcome. In fact, we'll have a look at one from our director of product who's overseen this product. And here we can see the details of a detailed analysis from the interviews, and you'll see it for every applicant. So on the left-hand side, we see the video playback with a full transcript. There's also each of the interview questions appear here with the ranking on the answers as well. Let's play one of these.
How do you ensure that your product vision aligns with the overall business objectives and goals?
I love this question.
Hey, and it is a good question. I think you get the idea there. Now you can see the transcript on the left. You can click on the details here, see the full transcription. And a really neat thing is that the applicant gets to see, you get to see, and the applicant will receive this as well, areas that they excelled in and room for improvement. The feedback that we get from candidates, that they actually get some instant feedback after the interview that all comes through by email with a summary of their areas that they've excelled in and that their rooms are for improvement. They thank us because it helps them to progress forward. There's also an overall ranking badge, the AI performance score, qualification scores, and behavioral scores. In addition, we now also have an advanced feature which is around the AI International English Language Test Standards assessment for verbal communication. You can even set the band that you would like to see for the interviewee so that you can get them to pass that standard. And it is remarkable at how accurate it is. There's also an adaptive DISC personality profile output, which tells us a little bit about how that person is going to interact on a daily basis. It doesn't replace a full DISC personality profile, which will explain to you how people act at their more extremes, but it does give you a pretty good feel for how they're going to interact on a daily basis. In addition, there's the Big Five personality profile. That is actually handled as a separate questionnaire at the end of the interview. And what's useful about both of these is that there's no extra charges for these particular assessments. After that, there's also applicant ranking, and you can even do side-by-side comparisons of two applicants as well. Well, this changes the game. And I know that what we hear back from our hiring managers is they never want to do initial interviews again. They always want to see that it comes first with this review before they move on to final interviews. Now, we are just getting started at Multiply with what we're about to deliver to you. Coming soon in 2024, you'll also see the brand new Copilot for Zoom, and then soon after that, Teams. Now, what this means is the AI will join you in your interviews that are in Zoom. It's going to suggest questions for you, and then post the interview session, it's also going to run a full analysis as well. In addition to this, you'll see applicant nurturing. So that means emails and SMS and even phone calls where the AI will talk to the applicant and the applicant can ask any question about the position as well. You're also going to see in our advanced version the ability for this two-way communication to occur in your advanced AI interviews. It's going to mean that the AI will ask questions around the specific work history for the individual and specific situations that have occurred. And if the answers come through not with enough detail, the AI will be able to ask the individual to expand more or go deeper, just like we do in a very natural human-based interview. In addition to this, it'll allow the applicant to ask questions about the role. You may have information around salary or the position, could be work from home or in the office or hybrid, and to be able to answer all those detailed questions around it as well. Now, things are moving really fast with AI, there's no doubt about that, and we're here to support you at multiplai.tech to ensure that you stay on the forefront and you'll be able to take advantages of all the advancements that are coming your way. There's certainly no doubt that by 2026, businesses will become as dependent on AI as they are on electricity. So let's get started now. The new Multiply interviews are available for an early access program in this month of April 2024. So if you'd like some more details, make sure you register below. If you'd like to find out about our low point pricing, we've really made this accessible to everyone. We believe that everyone deserves the opportunity to feel like they're winning. Everyone deserves the opportunity to have an interview for your organization and that you get access to the top talent as fast as possible. So register below for additional information, and we're looking forward to helping you to scale and exceed in your organization right now.